Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and today I am excited to have Melanie Kossan on, the CEO and founder of Stillwater Hemp, a Montana-based organic health and CBD company. Melanie, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Melanie, I have your bio in front of me, and I can obviously read it and tell everybody about all the amazing accomplishments you've done in your career. But I would rather you introduce yourself to my audience how you like to be introduced.
Oh, thank you. My name is Melanie Kossan. I am originally from the Mojave Desert in California. I grew up just south of Death Valley, so when people complain about 90-degree weather, I just think they're probably could probably do better. I began my company in 2017. And I wasn't even out to have a CBD company. I've always been all about self-care and natural products. And so I began to make some body butters and sugar scrubs and um, products like that. I knew, however, that my product was going to have to stand out from all of the other millions of products out there that are of that space. I knew a little bit about CBD coming from a medical marijuana background. Um, so I also knew that it it wasn't in my area. I am in Montana now. I have been in Montana for 12 years. I live in Columbus, uh, which is about 40 miles west of our largest city. Um, so I began to work with CBD. I was getting a full spectrum product I was importing it from the UK because that was before the hemp bill, so there was no U.S. production of hemp. CBD was legal provided it was imported. So I brought some in. I put some in my product. I made a couple of products. I took them out. I wanted to get into some retail stores, and uh, they didn't know what CBD was. They thought it was something illegal, and that I was going to get their store shut down. And I had a pretty rough go that day. And I came home and I said, we need education. Education needs to happen, and it needs to happen right now. So I started CBD school. I went to Billings once a month, and I just sort of taught in person. We had room for 12, and we were full every week or every month. And it was a great way. It was very successful. It was a great way to get the product in people's hands, and also educate them about, excuse me, what it is, what it's all about, why it's so beneficial for people, and also for pets, and it's just kind of taken off from there. Ever since I began to focus on education, I have never stopped, and we're getting ready to release CBD School 2.0 here next Friday. So
Wow. Excited for that. I'm looking forward to knowing what that is. So you got into the CBD space because you wanted to, first you wanted to stand out, but then you learned that it was more an educational practice because no one else was teaching there. Um, have you seen m- much blowback from the community, or has more people come to you and asked you to do more of this teaching regarding the CBD and that?
honestly, I sort of expected some blowback given my earlier experience. But as far as the public, the customer base basically was concerned, I was very, very welcomed. Um, really, the only blowback I got was from a competitor in Billings. But you just can't let that stuff phase you. If you're going to get some blowback from competitors, then that means you're doing something right.
That's
So
definitely true.
I was
When
right. So I was very welcomed. people loved coming to CBD school. I went on the radio. I would do live Q&A for 15 minutes once a month, and we always had super packed full phone lines. When I opened a kiosk in the mall in Billings. It was very well received. We did a lot of great business there. I let go of that during COVID. Uh, but just before that, I opened my headquarters here in Columbus. We manufacture here. I have a retail space here. All of my shipping happens back here. My office is here. And I was very welcome in my local community as well. So it's overall been a really great experience. And I have found that uh, by and large, people are just tired of pills, and they're
Mhm.
really, really interested in trying something else that is natural, that's not going to have all these side effects, and will help them have a better life.
All right, so I am curious because we are talking about CBD, and it's all like you said in the beginning when you first walked out. People thought it was something illegal. They thought you were going to get their store shut down. So, what is the difference between CBD and cannabis, marijuana? You know, the devil's lettuce, all that fun
Mhm.
terminology that they have for the THC uh,
Right.
part of the cannabinoid. And that, can you do you want to break it down for my audience? Because I'm pretty sure no one in my audience may have that knowledge. And I would love for you to give us just a bit of info on that.
Absolutely. The the difference, so they both come from the same plant family, the Cannabaceae family of plants. Then you go down all the way to the species of that family. There's several different species of the cannabis plant. Um, there are there are those that have high THC, low CBD, and then there are those that have high CBD, low THC. The plants that are in the latter category that have less than 0.3% THC are classified as a hemp plant. And then in the Farm Bill, they even went so far as to classify the high THC plants as non hemp cannabis. So they have hemp cannabis and non hemp cannabis. Um, and the difference for the user is the THC does have psychoactive properties. Um, it will make you, feel high. People talk about the difference between a head high and a body high and all kinds of different things. Um, the CBD, the hemp plant that the CBD comes from, has over 100 different cannabinoids, which are like CBD is called cannabidiol. It is a cannabinoid.
Mhm.
Um, the interesting thing about cannabinoids is our bodies actually create cannabinoids. Those are called endocannabinoids. They interact and with our endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is through all throughout our bodies. We have CB1 and CB2 receptors, and the CBDs, excuse me, and the other cannabinoids are phytocannabinoids. Endocannabinoids we make within our bodies. Phytocannabinoids come from plants. So these CBD products are a way to supplement the cannabinoids in our bodies that we may be deficient in. There is different kinds of CBD extracts that you can use. There's a full spectrum extract that has a wide range of cannabinoids and a little bit of THC, but it's less than 0.3%. There's a THC-free broad spectrum product that's what I use. One of the products that I use, uh, and that has a broad array of cannabinoids in it, but zero THC. Then there are different kinds of isolates. There's a CBD isolate that works really, really great for topical pain because it really, really reacts very well with the receptors that are in the skin.
Mhm.
They're also beginning to isolate additional cannabinoids such as CBG, which is cannabigerol. There's CBN, which is cannabinol. Those are both also isolates that I work with. The new popular one right now is CBC. Um, and I'm working on getting that into the shop and starting to work with that kind of thing. So there's a lot of different components to the hemp plant that are very, very beneficial without the THC. A lot of people think, well, you have to have a full spectrum product in order to get what's called the entourage effect, where they all work together um, to get the best results. But the entourage effect is actually uh, happens when you have various cannabinoids working with various terpenes. Terpenes are another aspect of the plant. Those work together. They don't need the THC cannabinoid. There's other cannabinoids and terpenes that can work together to create this entourage effect so that you can get your optimum benefit.
I I just got an education that I didn't even know I needed. I obviously I knew that the difference between THC and CBD, one gets you high, gives you the high feeling, the other one makes you feel like it relieves pain. It's more for the pain things, and I think one of the most famous brands of CBD is Charlotte's Web. I think from
Yep.
the young girl with the epilepsy and that. I think that's when that's when it came to the mainstream media's point of view. I would say that that's the first time I really remember hearing more positive effects
Yes.
about the marijuana plant or the hemp plant in general. Um, this is Were you always someone who was, I know you were always interested in the holistic aspect, more healthier aspect of
Mhm.
stuff and less with the pharmaceutical stuff. Was hemp something that was already on your radar before you started your business, and you knew about all these things beforehand, or was it something that when you started making you wanted to make these products that you found all these benefits coming from it?
Before I started this company, I lived in California. Um, at that time, it was post medical. Medical was legal, and we grew medical marijuana for medical dispensaries. So I knew about the THC component. I knew that there was a CBD component, but I didn't really know very much. I love learning. I love reading. I love listening. I do a lot of listening. Um, I take a lot of notes. So when I started to look into the CBD arena, I was so intrigued because you could get these benefits without um, being any way impaired. And I got to tell you, in the last 5 years, the cannabinoid and hemp industry has just rocketed. I don't know if I've ever
Mhm.
seen another industry move so fast from from the 2018 Farm Bill, where right, 3 months before that, I could only get this 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 full spectrum from the UK, and now I can get lots and lots of different extracts. There's different kinds of processing. They're doing a lot of different things with the hemp plant besides CBD. There's tons. There's just so much, and I think that when the 2018 Farm Bill allowed federal funds for hemp research, um, that's when things really started to roll, because then they could finally do the studies and they could finally learn, what really is going on with this cannabinoid stuff, and the endocannabinoid system. We didn't even know about the endocannabinoid system until 1992. Some Israeli doctor discovered it in his lab, and he did a lot of great research in Israel on the endocannabinoid system. And as it turns out, all mammals have an endocannabinoid system, which is why it works great for our dogs and cats and horses, because they're mammals. Mammals have an endocannabinoid system. They have receptors specifically designed to interact with these kinds of compounds.
I love it. I love it. Um, so I wanna know. So I do see here that you do help entrepreneurs
starting their own hemp-based
Mhm.
business, correct?
Yep.
Um, if someone was interested in starting, what would be a tip you would have apart from making sure it's legal? Because that's
Hmm.
always number one. Making
Right.
sure these type of things are legal. But apart from that, like doing the business, like jumping into this world, what would you what advice or what a piece of a tip would you have for them?
When you're getting into a business that is so competitive, like CBD, you need to, number one, do not let your ego drive the bus because that will cost you a lot of money and it'll cost you a lot of customers. And you need to not let your ego drive the bus. Number two is you need to be prepared for some blowback. Um, do not be discouraged. I learned how to pivot way before the word pivot was even a thing in, during coronavirus. Um, every my card processing counts would be shut down, and then I would have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. My I couldn't advertise on Facebook anymore. What am I going to do with that? I can't. There's so many things that I was doing, but because it was new, nobody really knew. And then they started making these rules, and I couldn't do it anymore. So you have to be ready to adapt to any situation that happens in your market, and don't get discouraged. There are other ways of doing things, and just get yourself a mentor um, who can help you to get out of your head and see things from a different angle, um, because it just there's a lot of benefit to having a mentor in business.
Excellent. I love it. It's a great piece of advice having a mentor.
Hmm.
I know my business exploded when I started having a mentor take me to the next level, get me to see the pieces that I was missing. Um, in this few years that you've been doing the your hemp-based business, what has been your favorite moment in it? Like, has there been a moment that just stood out that you're like, yeah, okay, this is it. I'm in the place that I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can tell this story without crying, but I'll give
Oh,
it a shot. I have a, a customer, and she has a daughter who, when if they first came to me, she was 15, and she was really struggling in school. And she was, she's not on the spectrum, but she does have a lot of anxiety issues and some textile issues and some issues that were just making it life in general, and especially school, very difficult for her. And she was just in a bad place emotionally. And they were looking for anything. And they started to use my product. So fast forward, um, she did benefit and, in fact, graduated. I have her graduation announcement right here on my desk because she was able, just through taking a tincture morning and night. She's on auto ship every month. She gets her bottle of tincture and she takes it morning and night. She's got a job now. She's accepted to college. She's, like I said, she graduated really well. It wasn't even just barely getting her across the line. Um, and she's really got a bright future ahead of her now because she was able to, um, she found something that was so helpful in helping her to just straighten everything out in her mind and her emotions. And her mom and dad have stood here in my store and cried with me because they're so grateful. And I am beyond grateful to have been a part of that story. And I that I do have a lot of really great stories like that, but hers by far takes the cake. And that's why I'm in
that's
this business.
that's a hell of a testimonial. Like I'm looking at a business, like personal wise, like that. Just as a person, like for you as like as a business owner, as a human being, thinking about like I like to think about my legacy going on. Like what am I going to leave my kids? This and that. But you impacted like another's. That wow, I words
It wasn't me. It
like
was just the plant. All I did was make it
no,
available.
but without your help, getting the product, choosing to say, "Hey, I need to differentiate myself. How do I differentiate myself?" You did the CBD, you bring that in, and then by act of Congress, the Farm Bill
Mhm.
passes. You're able to get access to thousands of more actual, more richer product that you can make even better product, and then you're able to impact this young lady and get her from not barely passing school to graduating, having a great future. Like as an individual, that's a legacy. Like that's something that's going to live on, because this lady, regardless of where she goes, she's always going to remember, if I didn't have this thing from Melanie and the Stillwater Hemp, I wouldn't be where I am today. So your legacy will continue on for her, and that is like, I have to say, that is like I wish I had a story like that to share, like why I got into this business. I'm still searching for mine, and it will come. But like, and
Yeah.
saying that you have multiple of those, now I'm just jealous.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow.
Lots of we get people come in all the time, and I know I know now, if sometimes there'll be somebody will kind of hobble in and just be in so much pain, and my heart goes out to them. I always I do. I'm terrible business person, because I always am say, here, take this. This is my gift. Take it and use it and see how it works. And 99.999% of the time, they walk back in, however, a couple, 2, 3 weeks later, and say, I need some more of that. That's awesome. And I don't hurt anymore. And don't have to just lay around on my chair all day because I can't move. And just being able, I mean, think about how your life would be if you couldn't really leave the house. I mean, we kind of all
Oh
got
yeah,
a
no.
picture of that, but it changes so many aspects of your life just by going down to the root. Sleep. Do you People don't even realize how important sleep is. If you are not getting proper amount of sleep, not only just sleep, but deep REM sleep, you are deep REM sleep is where growth happens in kids, and especially adolescents. If you have ever had a teenage child, you know that the next morning, that boy, he really is another inch taller. It's not just your imagination. That happens in deep REM sleep. If you don't get that, you are at higher risk for cancer, higher risk for diabetes, higher risk for anxiety. And once the anxiety kicks in, now you're in a vicious cycle. And you're like, I can't sleep. Now I'm so stressed out. I can't sleep because I'm stressed out. I'm so stressed out because I can't sleep. And if you just handle that situation, the sleep situation, so many other pieces of their lives fall into place, because now their their neurotransmitters are getting uh, renewed and refreshed overnight. There's a lot of stuff that happens during sleep that I have just been fascinated by, and it just makes so much sense. So, I mean, just one little thing, just helping somebody with one little thing can really affect their entire way of life.
It's Do you ship to Canada? I need to know. Do you ship to Canada? I know the federal
Uh,
laws are kind of iffy. I know it's legal
they're
in
weird up
Canada, so
there,
hey,
but
it's fully
we do
legal.
actually have a customer in Canada, and I did, and her mom actually owns my building where my HQ is, and she comes in and says, my daughter, she's in Canada. And I said, all right, let's just check this out and figure out how to do this. And then again, and now we're shipping to Canada.
Uh, Awesome. I'm definitely going to be sending your website to a couple of my friends that I know have anxiety. I know um how much like CBD and that can help people with anxiety. Because I was on meds and I was not happy on the meds, and I switched to not fully CBD, but like a good mixture, like a
Mhm.
not equal parts, but because I do like that euphoric part, but like when I sleep, my sleeps are so much better now, and my anxiety is down, my stress is down. It relaxes you in a way that I don't think anything else I've ever
Yeah.
like. I don't even drink anymore thanks to like being
Right.
using CBD pills and that, because like I'll have a drink. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not cutting it out because I do enjoy a brew on a hot day. But if I want to relax, I'll take a CBD pill, and it's just so much more relaxing.
Yeah.
It's changing of life. It's so much better, especially in this stressful life we're living in now, with everything coming at you
Hmm.
24/7. Allows you to relax.
Yeah.
We are jumping to near the end of the episode, and this is the worst part of the episode because Melanie, you're giving me a master class, and like I love working. I already love working with you. I'm not even working with you, talking with you, discussing this, because I see how much you care for your clients, like, and your customers, and they're not customers or clients, they're acquaintances and friends to you, and I love seeing that.
Mhm.
But I am a voracious eater of books. I love reading books. I think they are the source of knowledge, unbridled knowledge and power. And I would love to know a book you would love for entrepreneurs to start reading today. What book is it? If you have a book yourself, let me know, but it's not your book, it's someone else's book, please.
Right. Well, my book is not out yet. I have two suggestions. One is Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman. That book really helped me to put together the structure of my company once I began to have employees and I was trying to figure out who was in charge of what. It defines for you a visionary versus a integrator. And once I realized, I'm always hard on myself because you know certain daily tasks I don't want to do those. And when I
Mm,
finally figured out, oh, that's because I'm a visionary, and now I have an integrator, and it's fantastic when you can figure that out. The other thing I need to say is any book by Jason Miller of the Strategic Advisor Board. Jason Miller writes incredible books. He has been instrumental in turning, uh, taking the direction of my company and taking it to places that I didn't even think of. He is a true visionary. Any book by Jason Miller, every time he writes a book, it goes internationally bestseller. You've got to get one of those.
definitely going to be picking up one of Jason Miller's books now. Melanie, we are at the end of the episode. I'm going to jump off screen. I want you to let my audience know where they can get in contact with you, how they can support you. Anything, these last 5 minutes are yours to use how you see fit. So the floor is yours.
Okay, 5 minutes. I can probably fill 5 minutes. First, thank you so much for having me on. It is my great pleasure to be a guest and be able to discuss how wonderful the product is, and the fact that I get to be involved in bringing it to the public is an incredible honor. I have two websites, stillwaterhemp.com and allnaturaltopicals.com. Obviously, the topicals is only topicals because we can digitally advertise that. Stillwater Hemp has all of our products. We My LinkedIn is Melanie Kossan. You can, if you Google my name, Melanie Kossan, you can find a lot of great information about the company, um, and where to find me. We love Google My Business reviews. If you if you get on and order, and then you leave us a review, we'll send you a little card for a 15% off. I am just beginning, I'm beginning a trade association called CBD Distributors Association. That website will be cbdda.org. It is absolutely in line with my goals of education. There are tons and tons and tons of articles on there. I think I've written 90 articles in the last 90 days for that. The original CBD school is going to be recorded and put on cbdda.org. And then we'll be doing CBD School 2.0 in person as well as a webinar. My email is melanie@mtn-mama.com. That's melanie@mountainmama.com. What else are we working on? We are also offering a distributorship program. That has been a very interesting process. We have vending machines. They do not look like your typical vending machine. They kind of look like a giant iPad on a stand. They're wrapped. They come with product in them. If you're interested in something like that, I would love to talk to you. You can find me anywhere. And I love communicating and talking with my customers and just telling people about CBD and how it can help them.
Awesome. Thank you, Melanie, once again for being an amazing guest and educating us on CBD and how beneficial it is for people. To my audience, remember you can find all the links in the show notes down below to support Melanie. And Melanie, again, I can't thank you enough. And I'm looking forward to trying your products. I'm going to be jumping on
My
the
great
site
pleasure.
soon as we're done here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's my great pleasure to be here.
Excellent. And to my audience, remember again, always to invest in yourself.